Well,
Hello.
hi.
Oh, here.
Yo.
Oh, Martin. We're missing Martin, I guess.
Yeah, let me pull up the agenda. Martin. Excellent. Uh, all right. I think what's wrong with my screen? Anna said she was going to be a little late,
Yes.
so I guess we can get started.
Start
Um,
moving people
okay.
over.
Well, I would like to open up the Madison Inland Wetlands and Watercourses Agency meeting on April 7th, 2025 at 7 p.m. Um, Looks like we can start with our pending applications. So the first one will be 25-06, 300 Green Hill Road and 351 Cops Road. And this is the town replacing synthetic turf at a softball field and renovating and shifting the baseball field.
Do you want me to just jump in with an overview or how do you want to,
Well,
my first time in front of you guys? So
let's just make sure I have everybody who's supposed to be over. I know Austin's here. I don't know if he wants to be moved.
move them over.
Move him over.
Yeah, him
Chris is here.
and there should be Eric and possibly Luke from KBA.
Oh, he just got on. Oh. Okay. And I think Eric's showing up in two different places. Oh, no, now he's gone. Okay. I think that's everybody.
Okay, yes. You can give a brief overview of the project and just make sure to mention your name so we can get that in our minutes.
Sure. My name is Ben Whitaker. I'm the construction manager for the town of Madison and the Madison Public Schools. I'm here with our athletic director, Chris Farrell, and our director of beach recreation and senior services, Austin Hall. The three of us are the kind of the in-house project team for this project, and we also have KBA, who are our architects on this project, and that they're represented by Eric Royce. And basically, this project in a nutshell is we're getting some feedback from somebody on here. If you could mute, sound like a cat was screaming in the background. Um, we are taking our baseball field right now that's behind Polson School. It's our high school baseball field, which is currently a natural grass turf field. The field's got a lot of issues. There are drainage problems, there's ponding water, there's bad turf, you name it. Chris could probably talk for an hour about that. But to resolve all those problems, we have in our capital plan for next year, replacing that with a turf field, kind of like the softball field was adjacent to it around the front of the building. And that's our softball field. That is currently a synthetic turf field. So the project is basically two projects that we're compressing into one operationally. That's to convert the baseball field over to turf. We're also making various site improvements there with fencing, dugouts, kind of all the appurtenances to baseball. And the softball field is very straightforward. We're peeling up the old turf and putting down new turf. So really no wetlands impacts on the softball side. The wetland impacts that which Eric will walk through are on the baseball side. What we try to do in designing this field, kind of the biggest alteration to it is we're rotating the field counterclockwise. Because right now the right field line isn't a regulation distance, and if it was a regulation distance, it would be hitting the school. So we're taking the field and rotating it. That requires us to encroach a little bit more on the wetlands and or the upland review area, I should say. And what we're doing to mitigate that impact, again, Eric will walk through these in detail, are creating two low retaining walls. By low, I mean 3 to 5 feet, to stop us from having to chase that grade all the way out into the woods. So we're trying to do as little clearing as possible, and as little kind of encroachment into the woods as we can. So I will let the professionals take it from here. Eric, if you want to jump in.
Good evening, everybody. I do have my everything on. Okay. I'll walk you through the set real quick. In the interest of time, I'll keep it as brief as possible. Most of the folks on this call look like they were out on the field walk on Saturday morning, so you've got a good idea of what our scope is and what we're planning to do. But I'll walk through this pretty quick. So this is the existing baseball field here. As you can see, the baseball field slopes from the infield out towards center field. The existing baseball field is surrounded by fence, chain link fence, dugouts on either side, and then what's not shown on this survey is the limits of clearing is not showing up well, or the existing tree line. But we do have all this existing thing. So what's being proposed is that the existing topsoil will be removed. A portion, probably about a 6-inch depth of the existing subsoil, will be removed. And then we'll start building up with filter fabric and gravel and drainage material to install the synthetic turf. So as part of that, we need an anchor curb all the way around the field. So that's a concrete anchor curb, and the fence goes into that. And then that anchor curb serves to anchor the edge of the synthetic turf. So this all will be synthetic turf. The infield is just a different color synthetic turf. It's not infield mix. And then we're rebuilding the dugouts over here. And as part of this all, and all the sidewalks, and as you could see, we rotated the field counterclockwise, and that was to get this outfield pole. Right now, it's kind of almost in the face of the building back here, but it gets it away from the building and allows access through here. It also gets us a regulation right field for the baseball. Also, as part of this, the field rotates around, and we've got in left field where's the biggest concern that we walked on Saturday morning was where we're putting a wall and we're kind of leveling out the grade in this area to be able to get the left field in. As part of this, we realized that we can't get the full distance in left field that we would for regulation for a high school, but we can shorten it up, and we've shortened it up. And it's basically, if you look carefully here, you could see where the existing fence is and where our proposed fence is pretty much the same. The big difference is in this corner where the existing fence is here, and as a result of rotating the field around, that pushes out that 38 feet we were talking about, and we need a wall there to limit chasing the grade down to the wetlands. So that's the big thing here. That's where most of the clearing is happening, is in this corner in here. And then as another part of it, we're pulling back and rotating the backstop, so that changes a little bit, and we've got a wall that's going in here, again, just so we're not chasing grade all the way down to the wetlands. And that allows us to get handicap access around the back of the bleachers for pedestrian viewing area and to the dugouts and everything here. So as part of all this, we're doing that clearing that I was talking about. And we will also probably be doing some selective trimming around the edges where there's some significant trees that overhang the field. So we'll be taking off leaders and just cleaning up the edges of the field with an arborist, but not taking down all those trees. Another part of this is a synthetic turf field. Synthetic turf drains vertically down into the gravel underneath it, and then it gets into these what we call herringbone drains or flat drains. And all those are directed to a collector drain that goes around the perimeter of the field, and those outlet to the low spot kind of to the south to the field there. So you could see that. You could also see that low spot. It works out well. We'll probably adjust this based on where existing trees are when we get in the field. But it'll be left or right to some degree, but it's not going to get any longer as far as that's concerned. And you can see the flagged wetlands down here is significantly away from that, and then the flagged wetlands all the way around the edges. That's the area of concern for everything else. So trying to find a plan with the buffers on it. So here's the site grading with the buffers, and you could see we've got a 25-foot and then the 50-foot shown, and then the 100-foot out here. And then over here where the other area of concern is, the 25-foot, the 50-foot, and the 100-foot again out here. Matt, Ben, did I miss anything? I think that's about it for the baseball field. The softball field is pretty straightforward. I don't think it's even in this plan set. We're out of the wetlands, and it's just at the softball field. We're just replacing the carpet, the artificial turf carpet. We're not adding any gravel other than to touch up what's there. So the existing carpet comes out, gets hauled away. The new carpet goes, the gravel gets leveled out, and then we put the new carpet in.
Yeah, I think you basically hit everything. That's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
So in the interest of time, I'll take any questions and comments.
Okay, great. Thank you. I know a fair number of us were on the site walk. I think, Martin, you probably were the only one not there.
I saw the site though. I did go by.
Yeah, great. Um, any questions for the applicant from the agency members?
I have a couple. One is it looks like there's a proposed outfall sort of at the southeast corner of the baseball field. I think it's picking up all the under drains, and that's where the discharge is.
Yep,
Is that correct?
that's correct. That's the only discharge.
Yeah, and it looks like it's going to sort of an existing basin area.
Yep. It's an existing low spot that is wooded right
Hmm.
now. And like I said, we'll probably end up adjusting where this is to the left or right a little bit just to avoid
Okay,
existing trees. Because there are some big existing trees there, but they're spaced out pretty far.
okay,
And we can adjust it in the field so we can
okay.
avoid any tree removal.
My second line of questions is around, why are we going um why aren't we going with grass?
The main thing, a lot of these fields, right now, coaches and the athletic directors want to get out on a baseball field very early in the spring. And you can't do that with natural grass because it's just so saturated. I mean, they want to be, I won't talk for the AD. I'll let him talk on his own, but you get out on these fields. They want to get out on these fields the beginning of March to start
Yeah,
practice, and you really can't do it with a natural turf field. Um, there are systems you could, people always consider, okay, can I do an under drain? Can I do a sand base or a gravel base under the field? But those up your level of maintenance so much that it's really not cost effective to do.
sure.
But
I
maybe Chris
understand
will
that.
want to comment on that too. So
Yeah, I definitely get that. I recall some years ago when the AstroTurf first came out that there were um concerns about contaminants in the plastics, things
mm,
like PFAS and microplastics and that sort of thing. Is this material new age somehow? Has it been evaluated in terms of its ability to shed off microplastics and things like PFAS and contaminants that are associated with plastics?
yeah, with
Uh,
regard to the
uh, uh,
PFAS, that's probably the most current issue. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
yeah,
With regard to the PFAS issue, that's probably the most recent issue that's popped up regarding artificial turf. We can get certifications from the manufacturers that they don't add any PFAS to the product. The issue is we found out that, and we've been doing this more and more often, is we test the topsoil before we put down the turf. and topsoil actually has more PFAS in it than turf does. So um, that's the PFAS issue. There's really no added PFAS to turf. But as soon as you put it down, it's contaminated. It's basically, if it rains, it's contaminated. So
I'm sorry, say that all again. The, the, the soil
so
has more PFAS in it than the AstroTurf,
the
and as soon as you
topsoil
put the ast
probably has, we haven't tested it, but in our experience with testing topsoil before putting down turf, pretty much everywhere in New England, topsoil has more PFAS in it than synthetic turf.
yeah, I would disagree. That I do that for a living, and that's not what I'm seeing. But I do know that PFAS is rather ubiquitous in the environment. I'm just concerned about adding more to it.
Yep.
Um, so you said that the manufacturer would certify that there would be no additional PFAS. Does it mean it would be PFAS free?
It would not be PFAS free.
Okay.
I don't think there's anything that exists that's PFAS free at the moment.
You mean
Other than,
anything artificial? I mean, you're talking about any kind of artificial turf that doesn't have PFAS?
Correct. Anything that's made of plastic has PFAS in it, pretty much.
and certainly the microplastics.
Yeah.
Are there any systems to capture sediment from the runoff?
Um, there, there is no sediment from the runoff. By the time you get it filtered through the stone and the filter fabric and everything else that makes up the sandwich that makes up the base of the turf, you really have no sediment coming out of the turf. And it's not like
No,
you're it,
no soil sediment.
no
You,
soil
you mean?
sediment, right?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I was more concerned about, the finer plastic particulates.
It's just anything that's a particulate is going to get filtered out through that system.
To a
One of the
certain
things we were
degree.
talking about on site on Saturday was that many times with these fields, it's been their experience, it's been mine managing a couple fields as well, that the outfalls really don't see much action because of the vertical drainage of these fields. The last district I was at, our field's outfall was dry all year. We used to monitor it after it rained, and literally not a trickle was coming out of that thing. So with these fields, again, that's why you're able to collect everything and put it into one because it might not even see any outfall action, but it's there just in case.
Right. But of course, the flip side is, and it does go somewhere that goes into the groundwater, right?
Yeah, it's filtering
Mm.
vertically. No, I'm just saying instead of one point discharge.
Right. Right.
Mm.
It's filtering down. Um, Martin Lee had a question. Do you still have questions or?
No, but that answered my question. I was wondering how much runoff they expected to exit via the outfall. It doesn't sound like very much.
Matt Steffen is here from the BSC group. They're the civil engineer. He did the erosion control. Matt, are you there to comment? Or are you just a pretty face?
Not a pretty face, but I am here to comment. Good evening. Um, yeah, I mean, I guess I don't have much to add to that. I think you just explained it well, Eric, about how the synthetic turf functions, and we don't expect significant discharge from the field during really any storm event.
Other questions from the agency members? Joe? Yes.
Just a simple question. So the walkway for the handicapped and everybody else that's between the home plate area and the hill,
Yep,
let's say gravel or asphalt?
that is asphalt.
Okay. Yep.
So
That
is that an
that's it.
addition of, of asphalt? I mean, I know there's some there now, but if it wraps all the way around, is that additional asphalt going around to the bleachers?
There's a small additional amount, yes.
Um, other Any other comments, questions of the agency members?
I think there was a question at the site walk about that bullpen area that's remaining, correct?
This bullpen area down here,
Yes.
yes, that's remaining. You could see the fence is getting cut off a little here. We're just going to shift that over and put in a new
It's
fence
not
in.
labeled, but there is going to be a bullpen there.
Right.
Okay. Yep. Where
Okay,
do the opponents, where do the opponent pitchers warm up? Do they have one?
There's also one in here.
Oh, I see. Okay. Anyway,
Eh,
that's it
is
for
that
me.
one staying the same? That one's not being renovated?
That is not being renovated at the moment.
All right. Okay, well, so this is, we received this last month. We have discussed it this month. We can certainly act on this tonight unless agency members feel like there's some unresolved questions or something else we need to understand. If so, I would say that. Um, uh, Barring that, we have, Maria has very kindly, as usual, written up a staff report that summarizes um, much of the project, much of what we've heard tonight, and then offers a draft resolution with our standard language, incorporating that the agent's agent will be notified 48 hours prior to commencement, and that all site work, um, during all site work, soil areas will be stabilized and ENS controls will be in there, and that they will comply with state regulations, and that everything will be done according to what is on the site plan, and that will serve as the limit of construction activities. So if there is no more discussion, if someone felt moved to make a motion, we could entertain that, or if someone has other questions or comments. Lee? Yes.
I move that we approve application 2506, 300 Green Hill Road, and 351 Cops Road, with the conditions laid out in the staff memo.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Do you mind, you can stop the screen share now, I think. That would be great.
There you
Okay,
go.
so we have,
Was that Steve who seconded?
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
Steve.
Okay.
so we had a motion, we have a second. This is our opportunity to have any other discussion. Martin, you did bring up a good point about alternatives to turf. Is there anything you want to address there, or any other comments that you feel we
Oh.
should discuss before we vote on this motion?
This is the tough one for me, and I'm so sorry. You know, I love the athletic programs here in Madison. But I continually see PFAS in the environment. It's getting more and more regulated, and this is such a huge area, and invariably it will erode. There will be wear on it. I understand the concerns for maintenance and getting the teams out onto the field early. But I see so often these issues occurring with regard to releases of microplastics and PFAS into the environment. And this is a huge source, a huge ongoing source of PFAS that would ultimately make its way to the wetlands. And so unfortunately, I would not be in favor of the turf.
Okay. Um, Other discussion of the proposal or the comments? Okay. Um, and of course, respectfully noting Martin's comments, which are recognized and relevant. All in favor of the motion, raise your hand, say aye.
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 All those
Aye.
opposed, raise your hands. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 in favor. Steve, you're in favor, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and 1 opposed. Okay, well, thank you for everyone. And as noted, and we have those standard conditions. So I do hope that the ENS controls are in place and that the agent's agent is notified, or the agency's agent is notified. And thank you for your thorough application.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Have a great night.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you
too.
very much.
I will say, Martin, I completely appreciate your comments. Feel, sometimes these are hard because you have the PFAS, and then the flip side is you have all the nitrogen and other runoff associated with fields going into the wetlands and probably having a faster impact. So I feel like we sometimes don't have great choices.
Yeah, I just feel like
Okay.
the PFAS doesn't really break down, and neither do the microplastics. Everything else has an opportunity, especially going through the organic material.
Yeah,
So,
I hear you.
Well, yeah, and your input is valuable, so I
Yeah.
agree.
no, I appreciate it.
Totally.
Sorry, guys.
Oh, no.
No,
Oh, it's okay. That's why we vote.
I feel bad.
Say, no, it's totally fine. I think it's a valid point, and you know, having had lots of turf pellets in my house over the years, doesn't all stay there either. Okay, so we will move on to our second pending application. This one we also did a site walk for. This is 25-07, 1260 Durham Road. This is a application to add 1,500 square feet to an existing structure that is within 100 feet of the review area. And we have, yes, Mr. Benjamin, who we saw on Saturday. So if you want to state your name and you can give us a brief overview, but I'll first acknowledge that Anna Loss, another agency member, has joined the meeting. So we now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of us. Is that right? That's great. For this application. All right, Mr. Benjamin, go ahead.
Sure. For your record, my name's Pat Benjamin. I'm a civil engineer, a professional engineer. My office is located at 360B Main Street in Durham. And I know a lot of you were on the site walk. I'm working for Dr. Kumar. You've done a number of vet hospitals for him, and he bought the Madison Vet at 1260 Durham Road. He wanted to put in a approximately 1,500 square foot addition. And in the addition, what he was trying to do was to get a handicap accessible bathroom. He's looking to put in one office for the hospital manager, a secure pharmacy area. He wants to get a slightly larger reception area and a couple more exam rooms. So before I go forward, I had a long talk with Dr. Kumar this morning. It seemed like at the site walk, because of where he had planned on putting the addition in, we were required, when he puts that addition there, we had to move the existing access drive that goes around the north side of the building. And that involved going another 12 feet into an area that was ledge to be able to get to the rear parking and use the rear of the property. So I had a long talk with him this morning. He's gone back to his architect, and he's going to be redesigning his addition so that the existing driveway stays where it is. So we wouldn't be in that ledge area that was to the left of the driveway or to the north of the driveway. We wouldn't be removing any of that stone or any of those trees. So I didn't know what you would like to do. Would you like just to continue this until next month, and then rather than withdraw the application, he's supposed to get something to me in the next 10 days, and I could get you something that would show the addition. What he's going to try and do is just have it extend off the northern side about 13 feet, and more of it would be in the back in the grass area that's adjacent to the well and behind the building. So rather than go through what I have, which he does not want to do now based on the site walk, I was hoping you could just continue the item until next month and I could come back next month with the addition that he wants to propose. Or I can go through it right now, whatever you'd like to do.
No, I don't think it's so. Well, Maria, you can weigh in, but I don't think, I mean, yes, you're right that the site walk was illuminating with respect to the drafting that was proposed to take place, which I'm sure we would have discussed in much detail tonight.
Yep.
But yes, so I think if he's planning on doing an alternative plan, which sounds lovely, Maria, I mean, we can continue it. Does that make sense? And just have it be,
Yeah, I don't know if anybody wants to just take a peek at what's existing right now to get ahead of what would be changing. Or
okay.
the only other thing is, does anybody want any additional information from, I think it was Eric Davison who went out and flagged. If there's
Mhm.
anything else you might want to look forward to next month as well while we're returning.
Okay. Right. So two people weren't on a site walk. So, and yes, so yeah, maybe we can just quickly kind of run through what was proposed and kind of highlights
Sure.
the issues that came up, and that will give us a chance that if anything else, that's a great idea, Maria. That if anything else is of concern, then we can tell you now, which will help you prepare for next month.
Sure. So I know she just brought up the site plan. Do you want me to share my screen? Because I have a PDF I can point at it, or how do you want me to do that?
Sure, perfect. That'd be great. Yep, I wasn't sure. Yep, go ahead. I can
Yeah, let
stop
me see if
sharing.
I can get my screen to
Yep.
share. And then I believe it's right here.
So for Martin and Anna, I mean, what Mr. Benjamin will point out is that there had been some blasting proposed approximately 10 to 15 feet away from the wetland because of the way the driveway had to shift. And that hadn't been clear in the submitted application. And that's what he's referring to with respect to what issues came up on the
It was
sidewalk.
even mentioned on the site walk and
Yeah, so,
we all kind of stopped
anyway,
and looked.
yeah. So yes, anyway, please go ahead and give us a brief
Sure.
overview.
We originally surveyed the property about a year and a half ago when he bought it. And we had Eric Davison come out. As part of the purchase, he was required to do a boundary survey. So the existing, this is a little bit light, but the existing entrance is right here. You drive in, this is asphalt. There's a small culvert right here. And this is the main parking area. That's the existing building. The well is located right here, and the leaching system is located in this area. So the wetlands, there's a wetland right here. You see the wetlands flags extend, and there's a small channel. It's about 2-3 feet wide, and it goes through a culvert, and then it ends up going through a channel to Madison Earth Care. And I believe it runs through a culvert system on their property, and then ends up in a pond about maybe 1,000 feet away. So what he's trying to get in is this is the original addition, this outline right here. It's 1,500 square feet. And it stops just short of where his utility room is, where he has his boiler and the oil tank is located right here. He was trying to get it off the end because of the peak of the roof runs in this direction, and it was much cheaper to do an extension rather than go into the back area, which is what he's looking at now. So to be able to do that, when he gave us the plans, we need to be able to get in the back because you have this gravel area in the back, and this is the staff and overflow parking. There's a little retaining wall that's located right here. So originally he had, this is the addition to be able to go around. We had a 12-foot wide driveway. There's a 12-foot wide driveway there right now. And if you go about 2 feet off the edge of the pavement, which is right here, you end up in ledge, which if you go 12 to 15 feet, which is what he would have had to blast, it ranged from 0 to about 3 to 4 feet. We sized the roof water discharge for the current DEP stormwater regulations that they revised last year, and they've been recommending 1.3 inches of runoff, which we sized a level spreader. So it basically that would just infiltrate in the ground. So what he's thinking about doing now is, here's that northern side of the building. He wants to go about 13 feet, and then he's thinking about coming over, out, and then running it back like this and then down. So it would still be 1,500 square feet, but this existing driveway would just remain right where it is. So it wouldn't encroach into that at all. The site is very flat. The building was built in the late 60s, I believe. So normally if we designed a site like this from scratch, we would have elevated it so we could put some storm drainage and some type of collection system. Right now, the parking lot just sheet flows down into this channel over here, and then eventually goes to the abutting property. And the roof water downspouts for the existing building just outlet to grade and run across the parking lot. That's pretty much it. But like I said, the addition is going to be in a different location. So we're going to take it out of this area right here, which is where that driveway is. So we wouldn't have to create a new driveway. That's pretty much it. I'd be glad to answer any of your questions.
Great.
Would you still be dealing with a level spreader, or how are you dealing with this with the roof water?
Yeah, well, I have to put the roof water somewhere. The ledge starts right about here. So the only place I can either put the roof water here, or I can try to run it underneath the driveway over into this area and maybe put it over here. This is very flat. It's about at 1%, but with a 4-inch cast iron pipe, we're only required to have 8 inches of cover. I could run it over here and do the same thing over there, but until he gives me the building, I'm not sure. Until he gives me the size of the building and I take a look at the sizing, I'm not sure. I'm almost positive we would not do this because we wouldn't be blasting this out. So I think the roof water discharge would probably change to over here, which is grass.
Yeah.
The existing septic system is over here. So this is an excavated channel which runs out and then down to a pond on the abutting property.
And is the existing driveway, as I recall, I don't think it's paved. Is it paved?
Yes,
It is paved. So
this is paved.
The
So this
bottom
is
is
all
paved.
paved, and then it's paved right to here, and
Okay.
this is all gravel.
Okay. And then presumably, and I know you don't know yet, but the back would stay gravel.
Yes, yeah, he's not going to pave the back parking lot at all.
Okay.
Yeah, it's this is all grass right here. So most of
Right.
the addition would be in this grass area.
Okay. Other questions? Just
The existing employee parking is up on top of ledge. You might have to do some blasting behind to put in the addition at grade.
Depending on how big, yes, he might have to blast into that embankment. Yeah, when you drive up here, you can see there's knobs of flat ledge sticking out. And even in this area, there's knobs of ledge all over. I'm not sure what they did when they originally built this, if they blasted it to get a pad this flat, but they definitely did some earthwork in this area. I mean, it definitely was not as flat as it was originally.
Mhm.
Do we
Okay.
know if there's any potential vernal pools or vernal pools in the wooded wetlands?
At the time he did the flagging, it was the wrong time of year, but I can have him go out and look at it.
Yeah, I'm just curious if we're doing work near the wetlands, what the soil erosion efforts would be. And maybe if that pond, understanding it's off-site, that adjacent pond is a vernal pool. I'm just curious if there's any habitat out there for that.
Usually won't go off the property and examine somebody else's pond.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it's not. There's no pond on the rear of this.
No, it's just there's the wetland in front, and I didn't get in there. And I mean, yes, Eric Davison could come out, someone could come out and look. It wasn't clear to me if there's anything in there, but there could have been in the
Okay.
wetland on the property. It had enough water.
Yeah, I
Um,
went back
Look-
out there today and took another look, and it definitely seemed like there was more water today.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, I'd be happy and whatever. But yes, so I guess this is the time of year to determine vernal ponds. So if it's possible, I would have him come out and look at the wetland on the property.
Sure.
Because
Just,
there will be impacts from, and that would just be helpful to know.
yeah, just out of curiosity, if we need to add additional soil erosion controls to conserve any water quality in those
Okay,
habitats.
I'll have him look before the next meeting.
Okay.
You'll be able to tell that all the stuff is in there right now. Other questions just to help facilitate, the changing application and anticipate questions for next month. Anybody else think of anything? I assume the septic, I assume that the applicant, the owner is wanting to keep this, as basic as possible, so he doesn't want us to move the septic and,
Right, we already have approval from the health department because he's
okay,
keeping the flows the same.
okay,
It's a very tough site. I'm not even sure if we did have to repair the septic or replace it, we'd have to go way into the wooded area in the back here.
yeah,
And I believe that's also shallow ledge. This was probably shallow ledge. We'd have to do a very large mound system. So when we first talked, he didn't want to increase the flows, and that's how we got approval from the health department. The
oh,
system's
okay,
from 1989.
But once you get with the revised plans, you will have to go back because that's going to change the separating
Yeah, I'm
distances.
going to have him go back. He would have to go back and talk to him.
Yeah,
It's still not going to change the flow, so it shouldn't be a big deal. But yeah, we need
right.
to
But
be
the
back.
location, will be closer to the well or closer to the septic. So
Yep.
yeah.
yeah, that'd be good. Okay, um, other questions? All right, well, I appreciate that the owner was preemptively willing to think about an alternative design. I think that's helpful for sure. Um, and we would be happy. I will make a motion that we um, review this application at next month's meeting, so 25-07, 1260 Durham Road, and continue this until May 5th?
May 5th.
May 5th. So that would be my motion.
I'll
Second.
second that. Oh.
Yay!
Third.
Seconded. Okay.
Okay. Great.
Um,
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
all right,
This
wait,
is
all
an
in favor?
extension.
Extension.
This is an extension, so we got a clock that starts.
Well, I don't think it's an extension. We
No,
tonight,
he's continuing it. Yeah.
yeah,
But if it
it's
doesn't get decided next month, then he'll be.
then it'll be an
Yeah.
extension. So next month it'll be an extension. This month we're still within our
Yeah,
regulated time.
65 days. Yep.
All right, but all in favor, say aye, raise your hands.
I
Okay.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Yes, we're unanimous. Okay. Well, great. Well, we'll look forward to seeing this on May 5th.
Great. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Thanks,
Thank
Pat.
See you next month.
Okay. Mr. Doan is being promoted.
Right. So this is application 25-10, 26 Opening Hill Road. This is for it's a modification to have some modifications to a driveway that was previously approved and that has some new grading within the 100-foot review.
All set.
Mr. Doan, do you need me to share a plan?
You can bring it up. I don't need to share it. I think I can just refer to it, Maria, if you want to just
Okey-doke.
bring it up.
Y'all seeing that?
No.
It's
No.
it's a no.
And if you could just zoom in to the setback area. Thank you, Maria. Back in June of last year, we got an approval for a house and sanitary system that, and a driveway. Driveway and grading were within 100 feet of the wetlands. And we received an approval on June 5th. Since that time, the size of the house increased significantly, and it moved forward on the lot to get away from the hillside on the north side. And it also became a front load garage. So the driveway turnaround area was moved to the front of the house. And as the house moved forward, I moved the sanitary system forward, and the edge of the leaching field itself is just about on the 100-foot upland review area. I did 3 additional test holes with Trent, and the more favorable soils were near the 100-foot upland review area. So I flip-flopped the reserve area and the primary. I put the primary in the most suitable soils that we found. One thing that remained consistent from one plan to the other is the location of the silt fence, which we equate to our limit of activity, if you will. So our silt fence hasn't changed. Our sanitary system did come closer to the upland review area. It's right on the edge. Our select fill does go into the, if you want to enlarge on that a little bit more, Maria, that would be great. Yeah, okay, thank you. The sanitary system is, you can see the upland review area going into the left-hand side, if you will. Yes, it's hitting the leaching field there, and it essentially stays along the leaching field line. And we have select fill, which is removing the subsoil that's there and putting in a sand that is, they call it select fill. It has a specific gradation as far as the health code is concerned. And we do have health approval because of the increase in size of the house. We had to increase the setback due to section 2.9 of the zoning regulations. So our setback is now 49.3 feet we had to be from the property line. So we were back before planning and zoning for lot line modification, and we went back to health for approval. We received that, and now we're back before your agency for seeking approval. We submitted an application for a modification of our permit. And that's it.
Okay. So, given what you've just said, it sounds like the driveway hasn't changed then?
The first part of the driveway
Is the same, right?
yeah, where it says existing paved driveway, that's essentially the same. The part in front of the house where it says again proposed driveway, where it's kind of squared off, that increased in size, and it's moved to the front of the house instead of the side of the
It was
house.
over
It
here
was on the
before.
left-hand side
Yeah.
before.
Okay. And that is not, it's hard to see on these. Did it shift into the review area, or was it?
A portion of it increased right where you see the word invert, where I show an invert for the pipe, right where you
Here's
see
the
the
line
word
right here.
invert. That
Okay.
area there has
Okay.
inverts. Yes.
Yeah, I see the
In
line.
the
Okay.
upland review area.
Okay, so it's part of the driveway and part of the septic.
Yeah. Mhm.
Questions, comments from the agency members?
I
It says the
do.
home is under construction already?
The home is
Yes.
is almost completed.
Go
Oh,
ahead. Yeah. Go ahead, Martin.
Yeah, I was just looking through things and I see there's wetlands delineated on this plan, but I don't see the soil scientist signature, and I'm sorry if I missed it previously, but just wondering who did the delineation here?
Rich
Rich
Snarsky.
Snarski?
Mm.
Okay. Is his signature on a plan anywhere, or did we get a
It,
report from him, or?
I don't have a Martin. I don't have a report from him,
A
and
recent report? I mean, there was like were you
initially there was, but I didn't get a
So this
he,
this set of 3 houses, 4 houses, however many it is.
yes, yeah,
It's an
there
older
were
subdivision application, I understand. Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't see anything on this plan, and I don't see anything in our files for the application. Usually we see
yeah,
some form of documentation from a soil scientist if we're making a ruling. So I just wanted to check that.
Martin, his signature was on the subdivision plan. Anderson did the subdivision. I don't have a date for you off the top of my head, but Anderson did the subdivision and Rich flagged the wetlands for the subdivision. And we used that location with our survey. It was the lot that you're looking at was a free split that was called Lot A. And then there were 3 additional lots. With the lot line modification, the shift in the line, a lot was taken away on the left-hand side. There were 2 lots that were joined together. And so it ended up being a 3-lot subdivision overall. And
Yeah,
so
but
Okay, so
go ahead, Martin.
yeah, so his signature's on the original subdivision.
on the subdivision maps, yes, but not
Uh-huh.
on my plan, no.
We just, was that fairly recently or
Hold
5 years
on.
or?
2023?
Yeah,
Okay,
it was recent because we
all
did a
right.
sidewalk for
Yeah, it
this.
was
Please hold.
2022 or 23.
Okay,
And
that's great.
here's his letter from 2023.
Ah, okay. If we could put that over into our application package, online or wherever, just so we have that, I think that would be great.
It would actually be helpful for, especially I think the next one coming up. That's
Yeah, because they're going to be doing this again because so these houses were approved. The subdivision was approved. These houses went for regulated activity permits under like a base. I don't want to say a spec house, but more or less. And as
Yeah,
these lots
Yeah,
got
it
bought,
was a
people
spec
changed the
house, Murray.
plans.
I get it.
Yeah.
That's very recent. That's
Yeah.
great. I was just looking for that. Thank you.
yeah, but I think that letter will be helpful.
Yep,
Or
it
whatever
applies for
the
lot
next
38 also.
Right.
38.
Thank you.
Easy
Okay.
peasy, doing that right now.
Yeah, because that one I think we'll want to have. Okay, so yes, so we are left with a situation where this house is mostly built and we're getting this request to approve this modification um to the application with this encroachment into the regulated activity area. Outside of Martin's very relevant question about the soil scientist, are there other questions for the applicant?
there's a couple more modification requests coming in, you said,
For this,
for
we
other
have one
houses?
tonight for a different house.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're receiving one tonight from
Receiving
the
one
same
tonight.
subdivision. Yeah.
Has that house been started yet?
Yes.
Yeah, this has been a pattern.
This
Sorry.
sounds like, this sounds like asking for forgiveness rather than permission.
Yep, and this has been a pattern for almost every single house in this subdivision, I think. Is that right, Maria? That we've had to come back and modify,
for-
Not the first one. Well,
Not
so
the-
I'm not sure if the first
Not
one
the
had to go to
first one,
wetlands.
no.
but all the other ones have had to come back for various and assorted reasons.
For
Well, they
26 and,
they merged a lot, so that was a
yeah,
thing.
we
and
merged a
yeah.
lot.
Yeah, but didn't we also have the drainage issue? There's either the septic or there's some drainage issue that had to get fixed in one of them.
I don't think so on this. I don't recall.
Well, I can pull it up. Regardless,
Yeah, I can't
to
remember.
answer your
He's
question,
got so many going on. I really can't recall.
yeah, I think there was. There was one where there was someone did a modification to some drainage that we had to then approve.
I think it was that long, narrow lot that was all hill and there was a house on it. And I think Bob had to
Oh,
come back
yes.
for a
Are you
modification on that one.
Oh, that's the other one. That was 544
Yeah,
something.
that was
Opening Hill Road as
also
well.
Opening Hill. It was on the north end of Opening, well,
Yes.
towards the north
Okay.
end. of
Slope.
Opening Hill.
Yes,
Yep.
Mhm.
Right.
yes.
Yeah,
Same person.
546 Opening Hill Road.
yes.
Right.
Yes,
Yes.
Mhm.
I
yes.
remember
Because of the
that.
septic system, they asked for something to be put in and didn't let
Right.
us know. Yeah. It's something.
So to answer your question, Steve, yes, this has already been mostly built, and the next one we're going to talk about will have been mostly built. So, but that gets us to this. So our choices are, we can approve this modification, we can ask for something different, we can deny. So if, I will entertain a motion if anyone would like. I don't think we have a staff report, unless I missed it on
Yeah.
Yeah,
this.
you do.
Yeah, there was
I
one.
think she forgot to send it with the other ones and she sent it separately.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Martin, you're the soil scientist. Do you have a problem
Yes.
with the septic system coming closer to the wetlands? An Elgin system?
Well, that is a point of much debate. Although the state
I know Elgin's had
requirements
a
are,
bad reputation for a while.
I know, I
The-
know.
Yeah,
Yeah, I try not to bring that up unless it's an open water body of great concern.
Okay,
Thank you.
Okay. So does anyone want to entertain a motion? Or nobody? Everyone's like, no, not me. I already did the first one. So, but that's okay. I don't actually have the staff report in front of me, but I'm going to um, make a motion that we can then discuss that we approve application 25-10, 26 Opening Hill Road with our standard language, asking the applicant to notify the agency's agent 48 hours prior to commencement, and that all work will be, soil areas will be stabilized, and there will be E&S control measures that are up to the state standards in place. So
I'll
that is,
second.
and someone seconded. Okay, so we had a motion and a second. Are there any other things to discuss? And did I miss anything that was included in the report?
I just want to clarify, and I don't see the staff report now, but the agenda says a driveway construction work, but this also includes septic system activity.
Maybe that's this. Yeah, I know. I wondered about that too.
Yeah, previously approved driveway and associated grading within the, yeah, that's because there were, I don't know why.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
the
it,
grading,
but the
mostly was
motion
grading.
will
There's
cover
a
the,
sketch of the septic. Yeah,
yeah, so the motion will cover the proposed septic activity. That's all.
Okay.
Yep.
Other comments? Okay. All in favor of the motion as stated, raise your hand, say aye.
I
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Okay, it's unanimous.
Thank you
Great.
very much. Appreciate it.
job
Uh,
up.
Okay, so
don't
that,
do that again.
Well,
And
we're
now,
gonna head right into that.
yeah,
Um,
I'll continue this conversation with you when we
Yeah.
discuss 38, Steve.
yeah.
Okay,
So,
I'll talk about Mantis also. Thank you.
yeah. So that took care of our pending applications. We now have our receipts. So just as a reminder for receipt, we are receiving these. These are received. They officially start their clock tonight. Our job is to identify if we need to do a site walk on any of these, if we think there may be significant activity, if we felt that that's something we should identify tonight for any of these. So, our first one is for receipt is 25-14, 38 Opening Hill Road. This is for the same owner, same applicant. And it's a regulated activity to increase the size of the house and property lines and add a pool within the 100-foot upland review area. So, um, I guess,
Yeah.
yeah. So, I mean, our first thing is always, do you think we need a site walk? Is this something we need a site walk? Does anybody
I've
have?
done the first one, so I don't need to see it again, I don't think.
Same.
Okay.
Yeah, this one they made, if I'm not mistaken, Bob, there was a little, is this the one that had a little something added back here?
Yes.
They added a front porch, which wasn't original. And while they were at it, we said, if you think you're doing a pool, please ask for it now. So,
Is this the lot with the vernal pool?
yes.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
That brings up the question of where are they gonna drain the pool water when and if it has to be drained?
Yeah. Well, we can,
That's a question for next time.
Okay.
um, so Maria, are there any other, since we have the engineer here, are there any other questions that we should be thinking about in general? That we're,
I don't think so. I mean, again, this house is well underway. I don't
Oh.
think they've made any other changes.
These, I don't know how much you want me to talk about it, Maria, but the owners of this house were the ones that purchased the lot
Yes.
behind them. So they
Right.
could preserve
Preserve the land.
the land, and this abuts to the north, it abuts the state forest. So the silt fence line has not changed from the original submittal. And we are putting markers along the silt fence at, spaced at 50-foot intervals that say, wetland non-disturbance area.
Like that was a condition of approval for this lot.
yes.
Condition of
general.
approval, that's
Yeah.
correct.
And now there's going to be nothing behind them. There's nothing going to be built behind
right.
them.
And the porch itself is outside of the 100-foot
Right.
review, but they do have that a little rectangular balcony that hangs off the right-hand side of the house. And they've added a pool, although now they're reconsidering that. But in any event, we wanted to make a location for the pool. I think it's going to be a saltwater pool, and thus you don't have the
Discharge or
filter,
backwash or whatever.
backwash, etc.
Backwash.
And that's about it. Our grading did not change. And again, we went back for a lot line modification due to the setback to the south. And we had to add the porch into the square footage, so that significantly increased the size of the house above the 3,000 square foot threshold.
Now, did this have Did this have the pantry or something that got added in the back?
Uh, yeah, pantry, but I think that was that in the footprint, Maria? I'd have to compare the two plans.
I'm just curious because one of them had something that went out on the back.
Oh, yes, you're right. Yeah, there was some infill on the jog near the pool.
Okay.
One of the pool.
Okay.
That got filled in, so to speak. That jog was further north, I think. But I can review that in detail with
Yeah, I
you.
just wanted to, yeah.
I'll do an overlay.
I just know there was a couple things why that had to come back.
In addition to the balcony, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Okay. Well, I think so it sounds like we don't need a site walk. And this is a nice quick overview, and we will revisit in detail on May 5th.
And you're all set with this. Will also have Rich Narsky's letter from when
Yes,
he
I
fled.
already put it in the file. I'll have Ting add them to the to online.
Awesome. Thank you, Maria.
Yes, that'd be great. Okay. Well, thank you for giving
Thanks
us
a lot.
insight on that. Okay. So our other we have two more for receipt. This one is 25-16, 251 Boston Post Road. This is a modification for the restaurant going in where the Winter Club used to be. So it's a parking lot configuration, additional landscaping and lighting within the upland review area. I don't, well, does anybody feel like a sidewalk? Oh, look.
We have our friend. Chuck
Yeah.
Mandel is going to talk about it.
Good evening, Chuck Mandel.
Oh, could I just sorry,
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Maria.
Yeah, so this is this application came to you guys. You know, we've been on this site walk before. And there had to make some modifications, I think largely due to the septic and the sight lines to get in and out of the parking lot according to the state. So this is coming as a modification. They've already submitted their application with planning and zoning, and they can't make a decision because it has to be seen by you and by ACA. So, unfortunately, we didn't receive them first. They received the planning and zoning one first. They kind of did a little backwards. So it's being received now. So I just wanted to nothing too great of changes, but Chuck will let you know what the changes are.
Okay.
Yeah, so good evening. I was, as Maria had mentioned, we did go to planning and zoning for some site plan modifications. The biggest change, there were a couple of changes. One was originally on the eastern side, we had gonna have grass pavers, so the fire department could get around. We spoke to Sam DeBurr, and he said the fire department does not need access as long as they have access to the western half of the building. So we've completely eliminated any pavers or any possible traffic on the east side along the river. Michelle Ford did the original wetlands delineation. She also did the functions and values, which was on the previous application, and I would ask Maria to add that to this application if possible.
Okay.
Also, DOT had a couple of changes that they wanted. If you look at the main entrance, they wanted the entrance perpendicular to the property line. So we ended up actually shifting it a little further away from that wetland pocket that was in the state right of way. And my client also added, if you look at the entrance, there's a stone wall that is in the parking lot. It's actually going to be on top of the paved area. And it starts about 60 feet away from the wetlands. I was actually hoping for an administrative approval, but due to procedural issues, Maria said she could not issue a Section 13 due to the fact that the Wetlands Commission had originally seen this as a formal application. So that option was not available to her. But I believe the commission could, in fact, change the ruling to an administrative approval. There is virtually no change except for the added stone wall. We removed the pavers, and the entrance actually is reduced in size from 28 feet to 24 feet.
Has any of the landscaping changed? I noticed there was landscaping included with the
Yeah, yeah.
package.
So John Cunningham changed the landscaping plan based on some P and Z recommendations. So, and that is part of the submittal for this application to show you the new landscaping plan.
So
We're currently seeking DOT approval. We're very close. We finally, I think we're down to one or two comments. We're waiting for receipt of that. We're going to ACA tomorrow for hopefully get their approval, and the Planning and Zoning Commission, with the good grace of the Wetlands Commission and ACA approvals, they can approve this and he can finally open this restaurant. He's shooting for April 20th, which is Easter Sunday. This project has just been plagued with problems. So he's to wait another month would be very detrimental to the entire project. And I know it's not your problem. It's certainly the owner's problem. But if there's any way we could get us an administrative approval tonight, there's no difference in this plan except for adding the stone wall onto the paved area and reduction of the pavers.
I had a quick question about the landscaping. It looked like when I was driving by that some of it had been cleared on that slope next to the Neck River, and I thought that we were not going to clear any of that.
So so the original DOT had problems with that, and that was on the original plan actually, Kealoha. There was the sightline issue on that. It's all been replanted. There's a straw wattles there now. It's all stabilized. There's been no erosion. I've looked at that. There were some invasives that were removed, but there's nothing's going to be touched after this.
How far back? I didn't stop, but how far back did that landscaping go? Like how, so I know it's near, I can see that when we talked and we were on the sidewalk, there's a pretty steep slope down to the Neck River.
Yes. Yep.
And so a lot of that, so the building is, here's the Neck River and here's the building. So, here, I get that fine, the sight line's near the entrance, but back here, there shouldn't have been any necessity to take anything out. And I didn't stop and look. So has there been stuff taken
There
out?
was some multi-floor rose that was taken out. It was mostly all invasives in there. There was no large woody vegetation at all. It was all invasives.
Yeah, I understand that. And without restoration or whatever, invasives will come back. And because I would have to look at the initial application, but I didn't think you guys were touching that hillside, especially near the back, to keep it stabilized. So what's going in place? I saw there was some viburnum maybe, but
There was
what's
some question on the sidewalk about touching them, and then they said, no, they weren't. We
right.
prefer
And that's
not, so they,
that's what
yeah.
I recalled. So when I drove by and saw that it was cleared, I wondered what had changed in the interim.
No, most of that was invasives, and there's no plan for anything. I mean, they could plant. You could have John Cunningham add some more plantings along there, but it's stable. There was no grubbing at all. It was just cut.
That's not my question. My
Okay.
question is,
I'm sorry.
my comment is there wasn't supposed to be any vegetation removal in the first place because that's a steep slope next to the Neck River, which is a river of significant importance in the town. So I don't understand why there was clearing when I distinctly recall being told there would not be.
I
That
remember,
that
I remember that also, Kayla.
Yeah, perhaps I don't have an answer to that, Kilo. I'm sure when they remove some plants, when they cut the invasives, that just got taken down, which it should not have been without permission.
And because it was, and because I'm not hearing that there is a planting plan, we are now stuck with what was the whole point of not taking anything out is you're saying there isn't a planting plan, it's currently stabilized, but now you have a steep slope without any plants. Regardless of invasive or not, they were still holding soil in place.
Well, I don't know the definition of plants. Is that grass? It will come back. I would imagine by the spring. At the end of spring, you won't be able to walk that embankment again.
Can't make that bigger.
Well, I guess you're asking us for an administrative approval for something that now was significantly changed that shouldn't have been. And I'm pretty sure that we can find documentation that there wasn't supposed to be any vegetation taken out. And these are all recorded, so I'd be happy to go through and look at that. I know that's not what this application's about, but you're saying not anything has been changed from the original, or this is a very slight modification. But in the course of looking at this, there is kind of a major modification that wasn't highlighted. So, Maria, I mean, do you have any advice or anything?
So I'm trying to bring up the photo and I can't, oh, here it is. No. Okay.
And I get that that was a messy embankment, and I have enough friends in town who tell me all the time how messy wetlands look. But
So
that's a steep slope, and that can be an issue.
and
No,
I totally understand what you're talking about. I'm actually bringing up a picture right now.
and I get it completely, but if you walk there today after all that rain, there is no erosion at all taking place. That is completely stable right now.
Well, I mean, obviously, what's done is done. I guess I will take a drive out there and look and see, which doesn't address this issue that we have before us tonight, except that, if there is to be any remediation for something, that's the original, right?
This is
Right.
yes.
And now that is all
Whoops.
clear.
Damn.
That is currently all cleared.
Well, they had to clear
I get the sight lines. I
the
don't.
sight lines here.
I was driving and I didn't see how
This
far
was
back
from
that.
August 2024.
And we have eliminated that entire drived area. There won't be any traffic on there at all.
So this was a driveway. It was supposed to end up being pavers for emergency management purposes. And I guess he said there, the fire marshal said it wasn't necessary. So it is lawn now. There is a landscape wall. I just kind of want to get back into why this is here.
Right.
In addition, what we did not mention at all is there's a new ADA ramp that had to be built in the front, which is in the 100-foot review area. So that's part of this modification as well. So.
Chuck, is there anything that can be added to increase the chances that there won't be erosion of that bank?
So currently there's no erosion right now. Like I said, I've walked that many times and I was adamant that he get those straw, the wattles up there with a mesh protector during the winter. Now that we're in the growing season, I have noticed it has just started growing. And as I had mentioned earlier, that entire embankment is completely stable. The brush was not grubbed. It was just cut originally for the sight line, and I believe probably the landscaper was overzealous, zealous. I don't know, but they were mostly invasives. And by the end of the spring or end of summer, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference what was there a year before, if it's left untouched. We can certainly add any plantings that you would require. But as I said, it's going to be lawn now. There's not going to be any pavers, and that will be stable. It's fairly flat for about 30 or 40 feet from the building to the embankment. You got a 30 foot, it's flat. And then the embankment starts.
So if it's lawn, are they going to be treating that with fertilizer?
I don't imagine if that's a condition. They certainly will not do it. I think the original approval was no fertilizers to be added on there.
I'm pretty sure there probably was because you're so close to the Neck River that
Right.
there shouldn't be, and because originally nothing was going to be taken out, that also would have been part of the deal. Any questions, comments from agency members?
I mean, there's no, no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I know
If
We
it was
we drive by and
invasive,
see it. I don't think we need a full site walk. I mean, it's
No,
We don't need a sidewalk. I think the question is whether or not we can grant authority for you to approve it.
There's absolutely no danger to the wetlands. It's actually actually a little bit better, except for the cutting, but that will all grow back very quickly. There's no environmental danger to this at all. And I felt it was a de minimis change, and I was actually a little surprised that Maria could not sign off originally. But to drag this on another month, if you want a couple more plantings on there, I don't see to what end that would, what purpose that would serve, except punitive to my client.
To add the plantings or to take this to another month?
To take it to another month. He's hoping to open on Easter. He's not that finances has anything to do with you guys at all. I get that, but there are a lot of issues with that building that were unexpected, and there's tens of thousands of dollars. Like I said, I know it has nothing to do with you at all.
And of course,
We,
we're not
Sorry.
trying to be punitive. I mean, that's not our job either. And we're
No.
just dealing with the receipt of an application that we need to address.
I get that, but your charge is to protect the wetlands. I understand that completely. And there's absolutely no damage to those wetlands beyond cutting some of the tops off the invasives.
Go ahead, Anna.
If we were to go through it with an approval, could we include it as a condition, something about future landscape maintenance can't occur there? If they were to, or I don't know if they have to with the sight line. Is that something we could include?
I think this is received tonight. I don't think we actually, correct me if I'm wrong, Maria, I don't think we actually have to wait to approve this to next month. I don't think we have to give you administrative approval. Is that right?
You cannot approve it the same night, but you can say that you let it be issued as a section 13.
I see.
But you cannot approve it on a receipt, but you can say that you don't, see any reason to hold it up. It was it's a big application. It went before you. I choose not to, I can't override when an agency approval and take it on myself,
Right. No. And that's completely fair. But it also means, correct me if I'm wrong, that I'm not sure. I guess you could put conditions on a section 13.
I can put conditions.
So I guess that
Or
answers.
you can say I can certainly put conditions on it.
Okay.
Yeah, we can make a motion that it become a section 13 with conditions to be added by Maria.
The original approval did not have anything about fertilizer. It had no stockpiles within the 100-foot review. That was part of one of the conditions.
Did the original site plan say anything about no activity in the rear as far as plant removal?
Or did our condition, because I know we talked about that.
We definitely talked about it on the walk. There was talk about possibly, taking it out, not taking it out, and did he want to get into it? Because it was going to be a big.
Oh, I think someone's not muted.
I just muted. Yeah.
Who's laughing?
It may even be in the minutes.
And this was 2023?
It was 2023. It was approved 251 Boston Post Road was approved October 2023, October 2nd. New restaurant, including outdoor seating, installation of new septic system, parking lot expansion, driveway reconfiguration, shed relocation, which I think it's removed now entirely, and landscaping within 100-foot review area. Let the agent know before ENS, and then no stockpile permitted within 100 foot the upland review area during construction activities.
Right. And I think I'm looking at the landscaping plan. There isn't anything in the area that is currently landscaped because we discussed that. So there's nothing in there in the landscaping plan that I just pulled up, the planting plan from,
Oh, yeah, the new planting plan,
nope, the old one.
old planting plan.
Um, okay. Well,
I mean, there was definitely talk about not, originally, I remember him saying like he wanted to touch it, and then we're like, we kind of prefer if you didn't, it would be a mess, you know, whatever, not to touch it. And he said, oh, good, it saves him. I know Anna just said something about the sight lines. Anna, what was that you were saying about the DOT wanting the trees?
Yeah, my question was, for the sight lines, is there a requirement that it has to be maintained in the future? And if
Yes.
not, there is? Okay.
Yes, absolutely. DOT requires that
Yes.
for safety.
Okay.
There's actually on the original plan, there was a triangle that showed. So if you look at the entrance and you look at almost the southeast corner of the building, that sight triangle almost goes right through there.
So every like 5 years, say, you would do the same maintenance there?
Correct.
Okay. But again, there would be no grubbing.
No, absolutely not. There was none on the original.
Okay.
yeah, so looking at the revised site plan, so the original plan and the original planting plan has nothing in that, on that side of the building. There was nothing. I know there were going to be pavers, but there's nothing
Yeah,
else.
the minutes say about 150 parking spaces, 65 eastern side paved pathway. Replace a paved pathway with grass pavers. I don't see.
But there's nothing about taking out vegetation. There's nothing in there that was going to be removed. Not in the site plans, not in the planting plans, nothing. So,
No filling of wetlands.
so where that leaves us is I understand the applicant's desire to meet all these presumably approvals in time for an opening. Um, so one option to open to us is to have to make a motion for Maria to do this as a section 13 and add any other language we would like about the plantings and fertilizer or anything else, because this has come back before us as a modification and Maria uh, can do conditions on a section 13. Are there thoughts?
I think we
I
should
think
try,
it's a great idea.
yeah, I
Okay.
think
I
we
think it's
should try to make it a section 13. And I don't have any additional conditions. Others may, though.
I would just
The-
ask Maria to go back there and just identify if she feels there's a violation of some sort with regards to the removal of the vegetation. But I do support a section 13 and with the two conditions that he has said, but overall, maybe let us know next month if she feels there is a violation of some kind to the first application.
Okay,
Okay, so I'll make a motion and we can of course modify. So I make a motion that we um send, let me just find it, that we send application 25-16, 251 Boston Post Road to the agency's agent as a section 13 as an administrative action. But we would like within that section 13, we would like her to add conditions that there be no fertilizer used on the property, especially on the side next to the Neck River, and that I I think that area should be monitored to make sure that it continues to have no erosion into the Neck River, and that I guess I'm not sure this is a condition, but that as Joe suggested, we review if there was any
violation, yeah.
violation of the initial plan with respect to the removal of the vegetation. So that's my very long motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right.
I was gonna,
Any other discussion or
yeah, I just wanted to have a comment about that. So, um, it sounds like the sightline issue and the clearing in that area was sort of an oversight in the original in the original plan. It wasn't necessarily intentional. Looks like there's a lot of bittersweet that's coming in there and that might come in there in the future. And they're gonna have to go back down there and clear it again to keep that, to maintain that um line of sight, which is obviously very important for safety purposes. So it might be maybe when Maria takes a look at it, first checkpoint is to make sure that erosion is good, which it sounds like it's pretty good. And then the second thing is maybe to, address the bittersweet in there, or whatever invasives that are going to be rapidly growing back in there. We don't want to be going back in there every year and clearing and cutting. And, maybe there's something a little bit more permanent that we can do to get rid of those invasives and to maybe put a few shrubs in there. I don't know, something to stabilize it and avoid, ongoing maintenance issues in that area and a problem in the future.
Yeah, and I think, and I will also go look. I don't know how far back that cutting went. I totally get the sight line, but I think more was
Yeah.
cut than
There
needed.
was hold on, let me bring back the
And
picture.
that all happened after. I do remember reading about this, that DOT got very involved and had all these issues with
Yeah.
sight, which was that happened before or after our approval. So I know that a lot of that happened after the fact.
So if you look at I just made it totally. Hold on a second. If I'm not mistaken.
And just for clarification, none of the root stock was touched. So all that will,
Yeah.
as I mentioned, all that will be back.
Yeah.
I would hate to see that whole area
I think-
cleared and then just leave it alone so it grows back up again, since most of it's invasive.
Right. I guess that's part of the issue here is that there's no plan.
No.
And typically we ask
I
for,
think this is the stake right here. Can you see? Am I showing you this?
yeah, you're circling, it looks like you're circling. Is that the extent to where the sight line needs to be?
Yeah,
I think-
that might be a highway marker. That might be the Connecticut highway marker, witness stake. But that's essentially where just about there was the site triangle. So
Right.
I think, and pulling out some of those bittersweet, some of that was knocked down. That's just engulfing everything there.
Right. And we are actually, so we are in the discussion part of our motion, just to reorient us.
Yeah.
So I don't know, Maria. I think, we definitely don't want fertilizer. We definitely want to recognize that, this does, there is a DOT regulation that it needs to be cleared. So I don't know, maybe we add in, that there should be some maybe restoration plan or something for that area that is easy to maintain for sightline purposes. But that
Yeah,
might,
we have to come, yeah, that would be a separate, I would say, a
Okay.
new application for a maintenance.
okay.
Like
So
a
maybe
maintenance,
maybe for this section 13, it's, we have this, but then, we look at if there was a violation, we
Mhm.
have the fertilizer and we figure out and then assessing maybe next steps is separate, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay. Anything from anybody else before we vote on this very convoluted, wordy subject?
Nope.
We do
Okay.
have a raised hand, by the way,
Oh,
not a member, an attendee. But that's up to you.
who is it?
Colin Sterling, he's an attendee.
Do we know that person? Are they relevant?
I believe I recognize the name from
Well,
another.
we are in the middle of a
Yeah.
motion, so I think
Yeah.
we're
But
gonna have
before we wrap up, go ahead.
Yeah.
If you go ahead and wrap up your motion.
Yeah, I'll wrap it up before we get completely, or I get completely distracted. All right, all in favor of making this an administrative action and having some conditions as we've discussed included, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed,
Aye.
raise your hand. You're saying aye? Okay, so unanimous. Um, so Chuck, you have your administrative approval through Maria,
Thank you very much on behalf of my client
and we will.
and myself.
You're welcome. And we'll revisit the planting issue and we'll, as we get more information on that, plus the no fertilizer, that will be one of the conditions. Okay.
Maria, do you need me to speak for the next application since that's also ours?
Unless we want to see what Mr. Sterling wants
Oh,
That's fine. If Mr. Sterling, that's fine.
before we.
Yep.
Hi, my name's Colin Sterling. I live at 122 River Edge Farms Road, which is, as behind Neck Road there. So I drive by here. I feel like a lot of details were left out of what was discussed here. And you're right, it is convoluted and intertwined between agencies and DOT. And there's a lot of backstory and back and forth here. And I was simply signing on to encourage you all to not do what I think just occurred, but is to actually visit the site and see for yourself what has gone on and why they keep having to visit you so many times. I do think details around the lighting were not discussed. The landscape walls were,
That's
pardon me?
not our,
That's not this commission.
yeah,
Okay,
unfortunately.
it is in the letter, it is in the application to Wetlands dated March 21st from Stevens and Associates.
It is, but
And there is wetlands on the parking lot side near where the trees were removed, which DOT did not allow, what encouraged them to not, did not allow them to remove. And members of this town had told members of the public that they had to remove them, and that turned out to be false. So to let these people continue to just have their way with this, the first entrance into Madison on Route 1, right after the car dealerships is kind of shocking. I'm surprised there's not more neighbors here right now. And you should look at the clearings and why I'm just shocked. That I just wanted to make a point as a member. I don't know how to make the comment now that you've done what you've done, but you should visit the site and see the clearings, see the lawn. They wanted to have a lawn without shade. They now have it. If the light, the reason I'm mentioning the lighting is because the giant trees that lined Boston Post Road, that DOT did not tell them to remove, because all that vegetation in front is gone. And remember, there is wetlands area in front, so I'm not sure why some of that is not in your jurisdiction. It's hard to tell from the site plans, and you've been doing this a lot longer than I have. But because of the lack of vegetation in front, all that lighting is now visible, visible to the neighbors across the way, not to mention to the drivers. So I would encourage you all to drive by it at night too.
Thank you. And I guess I would encourage you, if you would like, it sounds like ACA, which is, I'm not going to remember the acronym, but they would be the ones who are in charge of lighting and some of what you have mentioned. I believe they're meeting tomorrow.
Yes.
To discuss this application for the parts that are under their purview. And I completely recommend that you, if you, it's not that you want to attend town meetings all the time, but they would definitely be the people to talk about for the lighting. We did talk about the wetlands and we did talk about the pocket wetland when this first came up. And we are definitely talking about lawn and fertilizer. And if you heard, we did call out that there was cutting that we were led to believe wasn't going to happen, at least for some of the vegetation. But thank you for your comments and thank you for caring about Madison.
It seems like we're I appreciate your comments, and yeah, I noted what was discussed, which was why I was surprised to see it then moved forward, because it seems like we're taking their word for the reason that the cutting was done and that it was done in good faith. And I think a visit to the site will show that it's none of this was done in I won't say none of it, but many of the things that they have had to come back to various agencies. And I've been trying to make sense of the web of it because they were in front of planning and zoning recently. But yeah, it is something that you have to attend a lot of meetings to follow, because otherwise they're going to keep doing what they're doing.
And
so
they
I
are
would
going,
encourage
they
everyone
are
to take a
going,
look.
Colin, they are going back to planning and zoning. Planning and zoning can't make any decisions until they went to wetlands and they went to ACA, and then planning and zoning can make their own decisions and put their own conditions on it as well.
And that's happening.
I appreciate that. I don't want wetlands to miss the opportunity to advocate for the tree loss that was done near the pocket wetlands there. There's a lot of so I just wanted to note
Okay, the pocket,
it,
the pocket wetland also in the front is on state property. Is that what
Yes.
you're talking about?
Yeah, that's that pocket wetland, and that's what's complicated is that that's actually state property, not this property.
yeah, there's a lot of layers of complexity. I totally understand that. And I also just want to make sure that Aaron Mannix's letter detailing all of the differences between the site plans and everything that is present today that was included in planning and zoning, that seems highly relevant for wetlands to be aware of as you're considering whether to take these arguments in good faith. I can't list it all. It's 3 pages long. Maria has it. It's on the planning and zoning application folder. I don't know why it's not here. Many of those elements are specifically related to wetlands, and talking fast because I've taken up a lot of time, and I but I thought this was going to come up next month. So thank you for listening.
No, and thank you. And
Thank you.
We did switch it to administrative action with conditions that I believe do actually take into account some of what you've alluded to. But thank you. Okay, well, that's helpful. Okay. Oh, so we are moving, sorry, I'm regrouping. So we have our last receipt for the evening is 25-18, 107 Old Toll Road.
Yes.
Old Road. It's a 3-lot subdivision referral to P&Z and a regulated activity permit for driveway drainage and septic.
Yes.
And so Chuck, are you also talking to us about this?
I can if you want to hear anything, or you just want to accept it for receipt. It's a 3-lot subdivision off of Route 80. We're proposing a single driveway. The wetlands were delineated by Bob Russo. There's going to be the entire north side of it is going to be deeded or potentially deeded to the Madison Land Trust. I did speak to Dave Roach about that. He said, and it is adjacent on the north end there. It's already adjacent to the land trust property, and it's just going to be 3 residential lots on there. We did soil testing. There's adequate soil for septic systems, and this is just for referral for subdivision. And at some future point, they will be coming back for individual permits for each lot.
Right.
Do they all need, or just 2 of them?
Oh, so one's existing. I think,
okay. Oh, yeah. Okay.
yeah, and actually, I think only the first lot on the right, on the eastern side, is actually within the 100-foot review. I believe the other 2 lots will be outside the 100-foot review.
Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead, please.
Okay.
Did I miss it? Is this site plan in the folder online?
No, it's not in the folder.
So I'm sorry, what?
There was no map in the folder that we looked at online.
Really?
There's the application, there's a butters, there's a correspondence to the land trust, and there's a soil report.
And
wow,
the
the
soil
map is
report is kind of copied out of an online source. It doesn't, it doesn't show.
Yeah, there
this
definitely is one.
detail
I'll
or
have
anything
Ting,
else.
I'm sorry, I'll have Ting add it.
Okay, so
Um,
so I know I was looking at this going, I did not see this. So
I'm sorry, I'm
okay,
like opening up things now.
this is a receipt. It is a referral. I don't have a good sense because I didn't see the map. I just read the application. Is this something that we need to walk? Do we need to see? Do you have thoughts about this, Maria?
It's vacant land, right? It's wooded land?
Well, there's a house.
Oh, there's a house now, and then
that's to be demoed. It's in pretty bad shape, so I think it will be demolished at some point.
My question that I just was brought to light, there's a road, there's going to be a road or shared drive, right?
Shared driveway, correct.
Okay.
Using the existing driveway.
Okay.
Yeah, without the plan, it's kind of hard to tell where the wetlands
Yeah,
are.
I have no idea without the plan.
Well, The wetland appears to be along the backside of the two lots that don't have a building on them.
Yeah. Yeah, Maria, put that back on the screen. There you go.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
There's little
Here's the
blue X's that
existing-
show the wetlands.
Here's the existing
that's
house.
correct. That's the wetland delineation.
And here's the wetlands. This is the open
So
space.
it's on two of the lots.
Correct. And actually, the lot to the rear, the 100-foot review, we probably wouldn't even be within the 100-foot review. But any plan that we do have will be coming back to the Wetlands Commission if there is any activity within the 100 feet. Oh, so there's the proposed site plan. So
that's basically that's basically a water course with wetlands on
Yes.
each side.
Yes, there is. Across on the other side of the Old Toll Road, there is a large culvert that runs through there.
Yep. I'm blanking. Where on Route 80 is this road off of?
Let's see for orientation. Maria, could you go back to the other map? I believe there's a location map on
Is it
there.
west
This
of
is-
the circle?
No,
No.
it's just past the circle on the north side, heading towards Guilford.
Mateo Road goes up a little bit to the west part of it.
Well,
Oh,
I think at the
okay.
very least, I'm gonna want to drive by because
Yep.
Yeah, I would suggest that you pull into there. It's a very dangerous sight line there. So either
Oh.
and you have full permission to go up there. Just let me know ahead of time so I can let the owner know. Or if you wanted to set a site walk, I would do that too.
So for subdivision referrals, just to refresh our memories, we, basically we assess how the subdivision is kind of laid out as far as we know. And then we basically either in the minutes or with a letter kind of write to P and Z saying, yes, we approve this. So some subdivisions, like the current one on Horse Pond, were a lot more convoluted. This one, it sounds like they do want to share some or give some potential land to the land trust. And so in our letter to P and Z, it's basically our chance to say, here's what this subdivision looks like with respect to wetlands and impacts on wetlands. That being said, it could be in our interest, especially since we don't have a map right now, to potentially schedule a site walk to do a quick look at this and get a sense of what we are approving. And I say that only because as we had tonight with Opening Hill and we've already had with Horse Pond, there often are a lot of issues that come up after the fact. So it's good to go out and get a lay of the land and see what we're dealing with when we, approve these subdivision referrals.
I just trying to clarify again, because it's a subdivision referral, but is it also a regulated activity, Chuck, for the road? Because they're gonna share that road and then they'll come back for their lots, correct?
And we're not looking at any of the houses.
Right.
No, this is just the referral, but that's right. So Horse Pond had as part of theirs, the driveway.
For the
it's a-
driveway, right, so it's the same thing as Horse Pond, because they're coming off a road in order to
Right, to improve that driveway, I would highly recommend that the commission go walk it. It's a beautiful piece of property and it would be a good idea to get familiar with it.
Yeah, I'm going to suggest that we walk it as well. I think,
I'm all for
Yeah.
that.
Good idea.
so this is for receipt, and then we will do our very fun scheduling to schedule this between now and May 5th. So we can get out there and check. And also probably see the maps ahead of
Beforehand.
time. Well,
If we could
yeah,
also just ask,
it was all received on the same day. I don't know how she missed getting it on there.
that's okay. That happens.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Anna.
Yeah,
Did you have-
originally the land trust did want to buy this piece originally, but then it got sold. But now they're more than happy to take the section that they're willing to give.
Okay. Anna, did you have something to add?
yeah, I think Lee was mentioning it earlier. If we could get the soil scientist wetland report, I think right now it's NRCS automatically prepared report off the website for next
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, I'll have Bob Russo do a functions and values. That seems to be pretty standard these days to come up
Yeah.
with.
That would be great. That would be helpful,
Yeah.
especially.
Yeah, I think that was Steve's observation, but
Right. I think it was that it
Alright.
is. Yeah. No, that's okay. We're all here to, help each other. Um, yeah, that would be great to have a more detailed, if he delineated it, then he could probably get a functions and values for it.
Yes. Yep.
Um, okay, so that's received, it's automatically received. And then we'll get, I guess IT will ping us for our availability for a site walk.
Yep.
Should be. Okay, great. Well, thank you.
Thank you very much. Maria, just one quick question for a permit transfer. You need to talk to me again or not?
No, I still can't figure out why they're even on the agenda because I thought they're administrative, but we're doing it. So thanks, bye.
Okay, bye. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, so that took care of our pending applications and our received applications, and now we move on to our section 13s, which luckily Maria has taken care of for us. So there were 4. It looks like, it looks like we had a shed. We've got a shed.
Yeah, a shed. The Cops Road was a new shed. Cops Road is a pretty brand new house-ish. So that was nice. Everything was, we had good site plans and maps for that because it wasn't that old. Sterling Park was a shed that was existing that he wanted to move, and he actually moved it further away. We went out there and did a site visit, and I got him to move it further away. Nursery was a modification to actually I think it was a section 13 originally. They're supposed to build a carport, instead they built a full garage. So that's a modification. 257 Cops Road is Bower Park. I think the Women's Club or somebody, or Garden Club, was donating, or somebody's building a pavilion in the education garden at Bower Park.
Okay.
So everybody acted appropriately, and then those were that.
That's great. That's what we like to hear. Okay, so that's great. Thank you for all the work that you do on that. So our next is this permit transfer. This is 21-3135
Yes.
Cottage Road.
Yes.
And they want to transfer it.
Yes, this was a approval for a multi-family, like a apartment
Oh, right.
on
Okay.
Cottage and Mill. It was, I believe, Rich Gentile was the original applicant.
Yep.
Arvin Mecco, we know Arvin. He's done a bunch of work in town. He bought the project, so we are officially transferring the permit to him. And,
Okay.
yep.
And do we need,
Nothing is changing. It's the same exact. He bought it lock, stock, plans, not changing a thing. So they shouldn't be coming back for anything.
so is this, do we need to approve this then?
Yeah, if you want, yeah. Oh yeah, it's so unclear whether the permit, the transfers really need to be voted. It's kind of like in the administrative section, but yeah, if you want to vote to, go ahead.
Again.
If you got doubts, vote on it.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
and
move. Go
Anna
ahead.
had to go, or Anna's leaving.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, Lee. Yes.
I move that we approve application 21-3135 Cottage Road, not application, the permit transfer.
Right.
Second,
Okay, we got a second. Do we have any discussion? Nope. Right, all in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
aye.
Okay,
Aye.
unanimous. All right, so we did that. Enforcements. So we have our 2 enforcements at the top, 129
Yep.
Green.
So we're getting closer to looking at them again.
Yep. They keep showing up, so we'll see those in May. And then we had from last month, we had 454 Horse Pond Road. This was violation of the conditions on the subdivision. And so where are we at on that?
So that Horse Pond Road, our friend Tim Mack kind of jumped the gun on doing some things before his conditions were were met. And I issued the violation last month. You upheld the violation. And where am I with Horse Pond 554? And he responded. I gave him dates to do everything he needed to do. Submit his bond, and he needed to hire his wetland scientist, and he needed to his monitoring plan, get his ENS done. Everything was followed to the T. He has Michelle Ford is monitoring. She's doing the stormwater wetland and doing the monitoring. She's monitoring over the culvert right now. They actually started installing the culvert. So we, meeting all the conditions by when I said he needed to, I lifted the cease and desist order, on, I'll tell you when. I don't know when. What happened? I don't know what I just ended up in. On March 18th.
Okay.
So
Yes.
yep.
It looks very busy. I assume that they had done what you wanted.
Yes, they met all the conditions. We had several site visits out there. And if Bob Doan is still here, if anybody wanted to just ask how things are going, but he stayed on just in case.
Does anybody have?
No,
Well, I do hope, I will just say, driving by it and recognizing, the crossing is pretty significant and the stormwater, all of that, that I hope that they continue to follow the conditions and that they continue to monitor and do what was on the plan.
Yeah, Michelle, she sends me regular reports after every, significant rainfall. She checks in with me. She checked in with me twice today during the culvert building. We went by at one point. We didn't go on site. We weren't sure they were going to actually do it. I was going to go out there and watch some of it, and I wasn't sure because of the weather. And I didn't see a crane in the morning. And then when I went by later on in the day, we had seen a piece in the air. It was kind of cool. So
Yeah, we had poured the footings a week ago, and we installed the precast units today. There was a delay. The crane actually had a glitch in their software. So
yeah, when I didn't see it this morning, we were like, maybe they're not doing it. So
yeah, it was there for quite a while before we could offload the first. It came on 2 different tractor trailer trucks, came in 6 sections, and they were lifted and placed on the footings. And as they were doing that, to restore the stream channel, with each section as it was placed, the sections were 6 feet wide. They restored the interior or the channel with stone and soil. The only rough part today was everything was mud. And so we are still dewatering the site into the field area, the location that's shown on the wetland approval, pumping it up to a silt sack. And but it's going nicely, and Michelle's there almost daily. Yeah.
Okay.
I was out
yeah,
there
and
3 times
either
today.
myself or Bob Gerard, our zoning technician, are out there
Yes,
a couple of times a week.
That's great.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob, for hanging out.
Yep. Thank you. Have a good evening, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So do we need to do anything, or is that closed then?
It's closed. Yeah, the matter is closed now. It's only if you had done a correction and then we had to go back, but you upheld it, and it was they followed it, and we were keeping close eye.
Okay. Great.
And I believe I heard they did not They came in today but did not make the agenda, but I believe it mentioned to me after hours, I got an email that they submitted the I think 2 out of 3.
Three.
Oh,
From
3.
3 of the
Oh.
lots have to
Lots.
come back before the
Right, have to come
commission.
back,
We
but they won't be
submitted
on
those
receipt until
applications.
next month because they came in, they can't be received the same day, so.
Yeah.
Okay. So we
Okay.
will be prepared to see those, which
Yes.
hopefully will be as accurate as possible.
Yes.
Okay,
All right.
great. Well,
Thanks
you.
again.
All right, so that takes us to our minutes, the approval of our March 3rd minutes. I read them. I found one, let me find, there was one typo. I don't think it totally matters. Just let me exit out of these.
What are you trying to do there?
On our minutes.
Oh,
So on the minutes, it's totally not a big deal, but for the March minutes, on the last page on the remarks, it says in the wetlands agent, there was a discussion and it was determined that May 29th was the site walk for the site walk that we did, which is not. I think we had talked about March 29th or April 5th.
okay.
And I was like, oh, May 29th, but did it. But so that is the only, so I'm just noting and that was a typo, that it should probably said March 29th, not May.
Okey-doke.
And I know that will be reflected in next month's minute as a correction, so that's fine.
Perfect.
Did anybody else?
I read them. I must have gotten bored by the time I got to that
I know
section
it's
because I missed it. I missed it. So
no, that's but they were great. Any other comments on the minutes? All right, well, I'm going to move that we approve the minutes from our March 3rd meeting. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor, raise your hands, say aye.
Aye.
Great.
I'll need to abstain. I was absent.
Okay, well,
This is
luckily
Joe.
we've got a robust amount of people here tonight, which is great. Love it. All right, remarks. So, yes, and I saw we got the site walk minutes, but we can do those next month.
Yeah, I did them like, I didn't think I was gonna have time to do them and I ended up doing them. They pretty much say we came, we walked, we left because, you know, it wasn't,
Right.
we were hearing it tonight. It seems silly to get into great detail, so.
Right. Okay, so remarks from the inland wetlands chairperson, so that's me, chairman. I don't have any remarks. I think it'll be good that we do a site walk. I do want to say that I've seen Joe in 2 grocery stores in the last week, which is impressive. I saw him at Big Y this afternoon. I just kept staring at him because I was so confused.
Yeah, not used to seeing me in a store.
Those aren't
I'm running
relevant.
into somebody in an airport.
That's right. I know. I keep seeing everyone. It's like, it's not Monday. It's not the first Monday. Anyway, I think it'll be good. It'll be spring. It'll be good to walk this property up on Route 80. And it sounds like we've had our little winter lull and we might be kind of ramping.
Yes, it sounds like we're getting back in the swing of things.
Okay, so we will, and I will try to keep us in line so that we can be efficient with our time, because I know, we want to watch our time. So those are my remarks. Does the agent, in the wetlands agent have any comments?
Thank you.
No.
Appreciate you very much, Kayla.
Oh, okay. I was seeing if Maria had any questions.
Oh, excuse me.
No, that's okay. Thank you. It's very nice.
I do appreciate, we had a nice turnout for the site walk. That was good. It was funny because Lee was saying he liked it so close to the meeting, except that doesn't do me any good for the minutes.
That's okay. That site walk was actually very helpful. So
it was helpful.
be like, wait, what? You're blasting? But
Yeah, and I do wish that I had gone, like, I've been by that property a million times. I wish I had gone in it and really, because
that's why we do a site walk. So it's
yeah,
totally
I mean, looked at between the plan and the application, I'm like, nobody said anything about blasting.
no, I
blasting
reread it. There was nothing
so,
about blasting. So
yeah.
The site plan didn't show the contour lines where.
No
the-
contour lines and not even adding any in the section that says any you're going to remove or add anything. There was nothing about removing.
right.
So but I'm glad he picked up the vibe and went back to the
But that was great.
to his
And I love,
client.
I mean, but that's great because that's exactly, that's, it's a good way to
Yeah.
work. That would be an alternative plan. That sounds good. All right. Any other comments? All right. I will let someone take the honors of doing our last motion of the evening.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
Okay. Everybody, all in favor? Raise your hand, say aye. All right. Great.
Aye.
We'll see you at the site walk whenever that gets
Whatever
scheduled.
that is. And oh wait,
Alright.
quickly.
Ah.
I'm sorry. Posting nobody's not good for anything, right? So
Too
like,
late.
you're gonna be around in the month, right? Okay.
I'm here. We're all here.
Okay. All right. I'll just have her send out some dates tomorrow. Okay.